Why spend the time developing the archery then?
I guess,
why is that such a big thing in the first act?
I guess maybe, like, and maybe they didn't make this quite clear enough, like, she has to learn that, because she has a few things to learn, and it's not how to become grand or how to become a hero, or, like, what makes a hero. It's that what makes a hero isn't always the archery or being, like,
But I don't feel like they set that up at all. I feel like that's just something that was sort of...
No, I think they set up, though, that she's competent. She is good at all the things she has set out to be good about.
But the premise that they set up there, they aren't delivering on, and that's my problem.
No,
but
what's the premise? Sorry.
Again, that she is a heroic figure that she's trying to break down gender stereotypes, and it becomes about nothing to do with that. It becomes about trying to reconcile with the mother.
Yeah.
And that's not set up at all in the first... Well, it's sort of set up in the first act, but it's sort of... Like, the story becomes less about her and more about the mother.
Yes. No, I agree.
And that's not set up at all in the marketing at all.
No, it's not set up in the marketing.
And it's
I
not
agree
in
with
the
that.
first act hardly at all. Like, it
is in the first act.
No, but the mother's relationship with her in the first act is about... She has a very specific lifestyle, and the mother's trying to force a very different lifestyle on her.
Yes.
And she doesn't want to live in that lifestyle.
Yes.
She's very happy
So
with
that
her
is
life.
set up there.
But the second and third act is about her accepting her life for what it is.
Accepting her life?
Yes, accepting her life for what it is, but that's not what she liked her life.
How is she accepting her life?
I don't agree with that one, actually.
She's not accepting. She's rebelling it the whole time.
She's rebelling.
She's not rebelling because she has a very fine life at the beginning. She loves her life.
No,
but she doesn't
no.
No, but what she doesn't like is the way her mother's trying to... She was free to do whatever she wanted as a kid.
On one day.
Not on one day.
Remember, at the very beginning, except that one day, I get to do whatever I want.
And then the rest of the time, she's...
Because I remember Manpans and I were arguing, what day was it?
Yeah. What was going on then? Was there time with the
every single...
Uh-oh.
Whoa, look at that. That's a complicated number. I'm only answering this because that's the longest number I've ever seen on, like, what is it called? Dialer display?
Call display?
Call display, yeah.
Dialer
That was good. It started with a V. Oh my goodness. Hello? No, I understand what you're trying to say. It's because I think, as Manpans was saying about the other people's reviews, that they had an expectation on what's
But that's the
going
thing,
to be.
I didn't have an expectation.
No,
going in.
but I
had
agree.
no interest in this movie at all, and I still felt disappointed by it.
Yeah, well, I mean, but you had an expectation from what the thing was at the beginning. Because I had no idea where it was going.
Well, I have an expectation that they're going to tell the story that they sold me.
Yeah, but I think I wasn't thinking along that lines even when I was watching it. Because I actually had even at the very beginning, I could see more of the whole... I was almost worried it was going to be something along the lines of, I don't know, that back and forth between the mom thing. I actually didn't know because I wasn't expecting stuff. And so, yes, I understand the fact that they set her up as this heroine, and I just didn't know where they were going to go with it.
Yeah.
And so I was quite...
That was the one thing when I watched it, because it was like, yeah, they set her up right away as the most awesome person on the planet. Like, you know, she can do archery, she's spicy, she can climb a freaking waterfall, and it's sort of like, oh, where
and she's
can
a
she go
free
from
spirit,
here? And it's sort of like, she was a little more humbled by the end of it, because it was more about her understanding other people's points of view as well, or her taking a little more responsibility and being a little less selfish about it, I think. Because I was getting
I don't think she was that selfish, though.
Well, yeah.
I think the mother was being very selfish and forcing a lifestyle.
No, but if you think about the time
herself.
thing, that's how it was back then.
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't matter. No, like, I understand that that's the time period, but that's why it would have been so much more poignant if she had broken down the gender stereotypes. Instead, it just sort of, that storyline, that even the thing with the suitors in the second act becomes almost completely irrelevant. The only time you see them is when they're sitting in the castle fighting back and forth, and the only time they become relevant is when they're trying to sneak around them.
I think, they might have made the stakes a little higher if they made this...
I feel like they set up stakes and then changed what the stakes were.
No, the stakes were war.
Yeah, it was war. And
I think that was still there, because throughout the whole thing, they were still waiting to find out what the answer was.
The war became almost irrelevant in the second and third act. It became about trying to save the mother. Like, the third act wasn't about them fighting anymore because all the clans had reconciled. It was about trying to save the mother. The clans reconciled and were fighting off the bear. But they thought the mother bear was the evil bear and they were trying to kill her.
Yes.
So it wasn't about the clans warring anymore.
No, it wasn't.
It was about trying to stop them from killing the mother. So I feel like they set up stakes and then completely changed what the stakes were.
No, but the whole stake was, for me, the whole time, was,
it was
still
the bear.
between the mother and the daughter. That was always, at least, even from the second act onwards. So the war was still just more of a minor thing, and it was still a relational thing between the mother and the daughter.
I actually really liked the character of the mother.
I liked her too.
She because she was being, a bit selfish and trying to impose or enforce this lifestyle on her daughter, who clearly was not fit for it. But that was partially the times, that was tradition and everything. But you could also see that she wasn't a monster for it. She genuinely cared for her daughter, even in the first act, and she was just more frustrated. She couldn't seem to understand it, and I really like the little moments they put in there. There's a moment in the beginning where her and her daughter fight, and the daughter runs off. She immediately regrets it after.
Yes. Oh, you mean? Oh, yes.
That was a very good moment.
I would say it's also really interesting that it's probably one of the few positive mother-daughter relationship films.
Yeah.
I don't know of very many. Unless you can, other than, let's say, Freaky Friday, I can't think of very many.
Which this felt very much like. It
Yeah.
felt like a body swap movie without doing the body swap.
Yeah.
One review I saw, the contention, he said, I liked the movie, but there were too many bears. I like bears, but there were just too many bears. I'm like, that's your review?
Unlike this witch she goes to.
And this was on Rotten Tomatoes. I couldn't understand. I don't know.
You start to get a sense of the witch she goes to. She only has one spell.
Yeah.
Just the bears.
And the witch just kind of disappears, and then
disappears.
almost becomes completely irrelevant, and then comes back again at the very, very end with that little tag joke that they have at the end.
Now, one movie that I watched that kind of brought up an interesting point, which was they would have liked to have seen Pixar just do something, and this one sort of verged on it, just do something a little more serious and darker, along the lines of The Dark Crystal, in terms of tone.
You mean Toy Story 3? Or
Being
as Kevin Smith calls it, Schindler's Toy Box.
nice. But I agree, Toy Story got really dark.
Toy Story didn't. Toy Story 2 was great, and Toy Story 3 is sort
kind
of
of dark. Yeah, it's very dark.
Yeah.
No, but why? I mean, thinking I want to see Pixar go dark. Why? No, seriously. Have you seen people try to take things dark and it sucks?
Yes.
I
don't mean
I would like to see
reboot kind
Pixar
of thing.
tackle more than just sort of the family movie style, is I think what Amanda's trying to say. Trying to do something a little more mature outside of their realm. They've become known for a very specific style of movie.
Yes.
It'd be nice to see them do something different. There was talk for a while that they were going to do, when Marvel was trying to fish out the rights for, they wanted to do a series of animated direct-to-DVD movies. And they eventually made a deal with Lionsgate. But for a while they were talking to Pixar about doing it, and they developed some ideas for Ant-Man and for Iron Man, and they were going to do direct-to-DVD movies. And I thought that was very cool to see the Pixar sensibility with pre-established Marvel characters and see what they would do with that. It never
But that
came
doesn't
to be,
exactly mean dark.
No, I'm not saying dark, but it's something outside of, with the exception of Incredibles, which is still sort of, there are mature moments in it, but it's not really what they were trying to do with, they wanted these to be, not the cartoons you see on Saturday morning, because they have to be, I don't want to say censored, but they have to meet certain standards and practices.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to do a series of direct-to-DVD movies where they didn't have those. It could be a PG-13, it could be an R-rated movie based on their characters, like their live-action films are, where it's not watered down for consumption by all audiences. And they wanted to go to Pixar first, and I thought that was something that would have been kind of cool to see them do something. I don't want to say more mature, but that's the only word I can think of to describe it right now.
But then again, why? I mean, because for example, would Avengers have been better if it was darker?
I'd say Avengers was pretty dark.
Yeah, but it was still quite open for the children to watch, because it still is. There are, for example, there's not even coarse language in it.
I wasn't talking so much about.
You could still take your children to the Avengers. And a lot of people have, because they still know, right?
I'm not saying make something that children can't go to. I'm just saying I would like to see them do something outside of their comfort realm.
Well, I mean,
outside of their little niche.
I wasn't so much talking about. It's hard to describe. I really liked Brave, actually. Like, I just, like, there were certain elements of it that I just would have loved to have seen more of. Like, I would have loved just a little more mystery about, like, the witch. I think they just played her up just a little too goofy.
Yeah.
I think there was just a little too pop culture-y stuff in there, and I would have loved to have seen a creepier witch, like, personally. That's just sort of the thing, like, or, because I love the little, like, wisps leading her through the woods. I love that sort of fairy tale feel about it, and I loved when they, well, no, that would be spoiler, but
there wasn't a fairy tale feel to it either at the same time.
There wasn't,
It wasn't it doesn't feel like a fairy tale. Like, Gaiman has a good way of making things feel like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Peter Beagle does too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else? I've been reading a series of books by an author called Tamara Pierce.
Yeah, I think I saw that in the forums.
Yeah, who does stories like this, where it's about female protagonists in a male-dominated world, and there's very specific gender stereotypes, and each time they prove themselves through, you know, trial and error and trying to, the first one is about a girl who wants to become a knight, in an age when they don't let girls become knights. Or women become ladies, or they become nuns, or they, you know, there's very specific roles that they can play. So she disguises herself as a boy from the age of 10 until about 18.
Like Mulan.
Yeah, in some ways it's very much like Mulan, but it's also very different. And like, she's doing it because she just wants to be a knight. It's not because, like, Mulan was about trying to do it for,
No, trying to protect her father.
Mm-hmm. Which is slightly more of a noble, you know, reason for doing it, but I still feel like the characters that Tamara Pierce sets up would appeal to the same people who wanted to see Brave, but I think they're a little more fulfilling than what I felt Brave was.
You know, I think...
And I would like to see those become movies or TV shows or something. Unfortunately, Tamara Pierce doesn't want to...
No, I think, for me, I think I see a lot of that all the time because I watch Barbie movies. Not on my own. And I think Man Pans has... Actually, we're going to finish Coronation. That's what we're going to do.
Yes.
And we're also going to watch Inkheart.
Yes.
And I'm going to get popcorn.
Sure.
And bacon.
Okay.
Bacon wrapped popcorn.
Bacon wrapped popcorn.
I can feel my arteries clogging.
I like that they made frizzy hair look good.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome.
The hair was really cool,
yeah.
actually.
And I like a heroine with just this huge freaking...
You like heroin?
I like... No. That...
See, when he starts doing that, I just let him go and hold on to my thought until he's done, and then I finish my thought.
Hold on to my thought. Unless, of course, we're teasing you. And then all of a sudden you just go, oh. See, I live for those moments. Pardon? You don't like to be teased?
I didn't say that.
Oh, good. Oh, so we can tease you. Oh, maybe Man Pans and I can tag team and just tease you. You're not. You can't tease Jamez? Don't you want to tease him?
You like the
Maybe
Blue
you can just
Jays.
poke his belly.
See, this is what you get with a video. These are the looks I often give Errol in front of a microphone.
There you go, tiki tiki do.
Let's hold on to our thoughts until Errol finishes.
No, you can talk.
No, you can talk.
Are you actually done this time?
Yes,
or?
I am. Did you want to say?
I don't know what I was saying.
Didn't you have a thought you were holding on to that you
No.
wanted to blurt out?
No.
And then you started talking about poking.
Why are you bringing it up again?
I don't know.
You like the idea of the pokage.